Hello everyone, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is Prehistoric Facts special episode number 133, and we're going to talk about a type of Spinosaur, and that Spinosaur is Irritator. And so here is the size of Irritator. Some information about Irritator. The name Irritator means irritating. Funny enough, it's kind of a weak name for a dinosaur, but hey, that's what the paleontologists actually thought. And so the length of Irritator would be 23 feet long, so 7 meters. Height 6 feet, so 1.8 meters. Weight 2,200 pounds. Lived 110 million years ago in the early Cretaceous and found in Brazil by Martel in 1996. So this was already past 20 years, so it's going on to be 23 years since the discovery of Irritator. So Irritator, where it was found in Brazil. So Brazil is the largest country in South America. So ignore the highlighted Argentina, and you would actually see the very large mass right there in terms of where the South and South America is, and that is in Brazil. And so Irritator is mostly found in the northern part of Brazil. And here's the skeleton of Irritator. And most of Irritator is actually very incomplete, and so what we have is probably about, say, 70% of the skull, and that is actually what was actually found of Irritator. So I'll get to the completion of the skeleton in a little bit. So Irritator actually belongs to the clade of dinosaurs called Spinosauridae, and it is related to Spinosaurus. It has a small sail, large claws on the hands, and cone-shaped teeth that is all typical of Spinosaurus. It is actually one of the smaller Spinosaurs, and so it's considered to be very small for, compared to, Suchomimus, Baryonyx, and Spinosaurus itself. So that would actually make it probably not as a top predator, as you would say, and there is no complete specimen of Irritator, and a lot of Spinosaurs are not very complete, because I think the most complete Spinosaur there is a Baryonyx specimen that was actually found. I don't quite remember the specimen, but I know that it was probably over 75% complete, probably in between 75 to 80% complete. That was that kind of baryonyx specimen. And I think what they used for the incomplete parts of Irritator is they used bits of baryonyx to actually fill in the gaps. And probably many of you know, it was a couple of years ago that the Brazilian museum that actually held the Irritator specimen was actually burned. They did save certain artifacts, but most of the fossils were destroyed by the fire, and so that is another lost specimen. But thanks to Google Maps or Google Earth, they actually managed to actually have pictures of the replica specimen of Irritator in terms of pictures, and scientists are hoping to actually create a 3D printed version of Irritator. And so they already got the notes in terms of what the actual size of the animal could have been. All they have to do is look at the skull, and they actually just make it a little bit more of a better understanding of Irritator. But hopefully there is another specimen of Irritators that could be found in Brazil. Hopefully there is another one out there that scientists can find. Now, the environment in which Irritator lived, it was very warm and humid. Of course, no grass, lots of trees, ferns, cycads, and low shrubs. Flowers were beginning to dominate. And of course, we had a host of other animals there, like insects, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and other dinosaurs. And so the reptiles you got around there is like some early versions of crocodiles, and And of course, some lizards. Snakes did not totally evolve yet. That actually happened towards the late Cretaceous time, you would say. And birds actually were already starting to fly at that particular point in time, and so it makes it a lot easier. And there's tons of animals that were around there. And the diet of irritators mostly going to consist of fish, crustaceans, small dinosaurs, and carrion. And what I mean by carrion, it means dead animals. So if you actually look at spinosaurs, they are not designed to take down large prey. They are designed to take on small prey, things that they could catch in their jaws. They can defend themselves with those very large hand claws that they do have, especially like spinosaurs like Spinosaurus and Baryonyx, because those would be the ones that would defend themselves very well. I mean, of course, Irritator would defend itself very well against other large carnivores to defend its territory. The fish that a lot of these animals would be catching is probably fish that were probably the size of a largemouth bass. Crustaceans like your typical crabs, lobsters, those sorts of things. Small dinosaurs, so it's probably like hatchling dinosaurs, and probably even dinosaurs that were actually able to actually kind of fit into the mouth of Irritator. And the carrion, of course, it would actually just feed on like anything that actually came across the shores of like the river or the lake, and just feed on it. They would not tear apart flesh very well. It would actually just kind of grab and pull out a chunk of flesh and then actually just swallow it whole. So it would not actually be like slicing and dicing. It's food, considering that it is not. The teeth are not designed to slice up flesh. They're designed to grab and hang on. And the extinction of Irritator is due to climate change, and Irritator is a specialist. And when you're a specialist, if your habitat changes dramatically, then it is going to be very, very difficult. And so the habitat changed dramatically, so the loss of rivers and lakes that Irritator actually relied on disappeared, the prey disappeared, and of course there were new predators that were coming in, especially like the large carcharodontosaurs like Giganotosaurus were almost ready to begin to appear. And so you actually have the basal forms of carcharodontosaurs probably living in South America at that time, pretty much competing against Irritator, but Irritator is a specialist, so it's actually sticking towards the rivers, lakes of that environment, but it's in that type of environment. But also the basal form of Carcharodontosaurus would actually be willing to take on Irritator very easily, and Irritator would not stand a chance against larger carnivorous dinosaurs. And so that would actually be the case, is that once larger carnivorous dinosaurs actually started to appear, Irritator became obsolete, so not as efficient. This is the map of the Earth during 113 million years ago. So this is just this is pretty much possibly what 110 million years ago would have possibly looked like. And Irritator, there's that dot right there, that white dot there on South America. That's where Irritator was found. And all those other ones were just pretty much other spinosaurs that were actually found in Africa. So the next episode of Prehistoric Facts will actually be on May 16th, 2019. So I'll give you guys 2 weeks to actually come up with some questions, because I'll give you guys some time, and also I need a little bit of a break for next week, because I got an event going on in Western Wisconsin. So, but come and check me out if you're actually going to be in Western Wisconsin and next weekend. And so, if you got any questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page to get your posted questions on the wall or in the comment section. Remember, keep your questions short and to the point. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you, and also for your younger people out there, to make sure listening to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you could have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, you get a good job in the future. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time.